Hey, Jessica.
Hey, how are you? Can you see
I'm
me
great. How
okay?
are you?
I'm good. I'm driving right now, so
Oh, is this safe?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Jessica, what's your Instagram handle?
Well, I have a podcast and it's called Pretty Girls Love Real Estate.
Okay.
So that's the one that I mainly am active on.
Okay. So you want to do a memoir?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It was kind of something like just in the back of my mind, and then I stumbled upon your page and was like, okay, well, let me just reach out to her and just throw an idea around.
Yeah, we'll throw an idea around.
So I was thinking about doing one. So I used to live in San Diego, and
Uh-huh.
I went to grad school, and I was the only Black person in my class. It was only like 20 of us in our program, and it was focused on sports marketing.
Uh-huh.
So that was also right around the time where everything with Colin Kaepernick started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm from Washington DC originally, so one, being in San Diego was like a culture shock for me because I could go like a week or so without seeing another Black person, so that was weird. And then, being the only person in my class, and then we were specifically kind of discussing like business and what's going on in the sports world. And so I had some classmates that were from more, I guess, rural places of the country or more Republican places, whatever. So they had strong views against like Black Lives Matter and that whole movement. So kind of trying to be the voice of all Black people against these types of people was a challenge. And just my life experiences while I was living in San Diego, I, did a lot of stuff in the sports world that I thought would be interesting, and it's kind of outside the box. So, and then my, dating adventures, all that kind of stuff. So just the life lessons I learned while I was out there and all that kind of stuff I was thinking about.
So are you no longer there?
No, I live in Tampa, Florida right now. So I just lived in San Diego for a year while I was in grad school. And then
Okay.
after that, I got a job in New York. So I moved up to New York after that. And I was living up there for like 3 or 4 years. And I just recently moved to Tampa in 2020.
Oh, you're just moving all around. So let me just tell you that we have something in common. Because
Mm-hmm.
I went to grad school at University of Baltimore, and I was the only Black person in an
Mm-hmm.
MFA program. So just imagine that you're being creative and your writing is pretty much based on your upbringing, how you lived, your background, period. So no
Right.
one there understood any of my writing. And
Yep.
I ended up dropping out when one day we had an assignment that was like musical chairs. So you
Mm-hmm.
had to write a paper, like a poem, ball it up like trash, throw it in the center of the floor, and then you
Mm-hmm.
went around the room. And when the music stopped, you grabbed a piece and sat down. And each person had to read what they got out loud. And who got mine? Everybody was like, "What? What is the what?" And it was mine. And I was just like, I ain't gonna be able to do it with all these white people, especially coming from an HBCU. And then
Right.
going there and
Yeah.
being the only Black person. So I ain't last.
Yeah, girl. Like I said, I went to undergrad at University of Maryland in College Park. So, that's kind of a mixed bag, which is cool, but that's still close to DC. But being also, on the other side of the country in a new place, I don't have any family out there, so I was there by myself. And then literally I felt by myself as a Black person.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
um, so yeah, that was kind of just my experience, and then kind of like I said, on the backdrop of what was happening with the Colin Kaepernick situation and being in the sports industry and everything, I just thought it would be an interesting story to tell.
Now, let me ask you, have you thought about, instead of writing a memoir, have you thought about using those experiences and fictionalizing it? Because I kind of a little bit fear if you talk about those real and genuine experiences and use really the Colin Kaepernick or whatever, like, what would there be any fallout legally, or could you use those stories even though they are your experiences? I'm not sure how legally that works.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't even, thought that far, and that's why I kind of wanted your feedback on it. I was thinking definitely if I was to write it based on me, I would definitely not use, real people's names and stuff like that.
Right.
As far as like the people like I knew personally in my classes and whatnot, I would definitely use different names. But yeah, I mean, even a fictionalized story might be interesting, and it's loosely based on my own personal experiences. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Well, see, that's what I do. So I actually, both of my books are loosely based on my life, and I embellish some.
Yep.
But I personally think that's the best way to go. However, when I do public speaking engagements and I'm in a room full of people, I do reveal that that main character is me, and I am able to speak on a variety of topics. Like, for example, if you could fictionalize a book, but if people book you on speaking engagements, your book would be a little about diversity and, different things like that. Yes, of course, you could speak on your own experiences, but I tend to love fictionalizing, embellishing, and then using those opportunities to grow into something bigger, because a book for me has opened up a whole world of opportunity, right? So just based on your experience, you can take that and turn it into a multi-figure income. So for me, I turned my book first into branding myself as a speaker and going on multiple speaking engagements. And then, of course, I turned it into a nationally touring stage production. Now I'm turning it into at first it was going to be a movie, but now it's morphing into more like a network TV series. So just saying that to say that you got something there that's a great story. And you can take that story and turn it into multiple things.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. I think I like the fictionalized part because, like you said, like what I think is interesting, you can kind of embellish it to make it more appealing to the masses, I guess.
Yeah. And like my coach was telling me yesterday, I had a meeting with my coach that's helping me to develop my TV show. She was telling me, okay, Crystal, this is based on your life, but I need you to separate yourself from it because I know what people want to see on TV. So in addition to your experiences, which are great, we need to also add in things that you did not experience, but that people want to see. So I think that was a great perspective. Like she said, don't hold so tight to your story that you're not encompassing some of the things that you didn't experience, but that need to be included in your story.
Yeah, so it definitely like dramatize it better. Like that's what I'm saying. This is a story based on my own experience of, because I was thinking about doing this and before the like whole like George Floyd situation, and we kind of erupted with the protests, and like that kind of triggered me. Like, oh, I was thinking about this idea before, and now with the current climate of the country, like this is perfect.
It's great timing. And that's the thing. You got to get on board with things when the timing is right. Like now I'm booking these speaking engagements just from a post that I was talking about the systemic racism that I faced, even 20, 30 years ago, how I was put in prison for a drug charge, and I had never seen drugs before in my life. I still haven't, other than on TV. I have never even smoked weed in my life, but I have a felony drug conviction on my record.
Wow.
So things like that, just period, sharing your story, period, just opens up so many opportunities, and so many people need to hear your story.
So yeah, like like I said, I just had that idea. So I guess also with the writing process, I don't even know where to start.
Well, I can help with that. So I do have a writing course. I do have a writing course, but I am the type of person who likes my hand held. I would not be as successful as I am without someone holding my hand. So the course is there as a blueprint, but I give all of my students complete and total access to me email, text, call, anything with any questions. If some people are just looking for a place to start, some people are natural writers like myself, and they're just looking for a place to start. So I give them options of just having a consultation and me telling you what steps to take. Then when you're finished, I will read your book, give you comments, what's good, what's bad, where you need to add more meat, what you need to take out, what doesn't make sense, how does it flow. So I offer a variety of options, and it depends on where you are, what you would want to do. If you just needed hour and a half of my time or something like that to get your outline down, and then you want to go on your own and write it, we could do that. Or you could take the course, go through the process with me. It's 12 modules, and I would be with you every step of the way. So it's totally up to you.
Okay.
But we could have it done quickly, as long as you wanted to do the work. I usually tell people you could start to finish, have your book written and ready to market in 6 months. You should always start marketing your book before it's even done. So I know you said you had Pretty Girls Love Real Estate. So let's just say today you decided, I'm gonna be an author and I'm writing this book. I would encourage you to start a page that is dedicated to that and start warming people up to it, putting people on notice that I'm writing this book, I'm about to be an author. You start building up your page by behind the scenes, up late at night on your computer typing, or just conversations like we're having on your Zoom. The reason why I do consultations for free is because, yes, I'm going to give you all the information you need, right? And for free, I'm going to give you the information. But in exchange, I'm using our video as a testimonial. That's the exchange. You can ask me anything you want, and I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to use this just as a little snippet, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, for a little testimonial. So if you decide that you want to write this book and you want to be an author, we want to start building your engagement because we want to get people excited about it. We're going to start dropping little hints and telling people your story. Hey, when I lived in San Diego, this is what I experienced. I'm so excited that I'm writing this book about it. Go on a journey with me. So you want to get people to buy into you early so that when your book drops, you can have book sales.
Right. You got a buzz going, so people are waiting on it.
Yes, let me tell you something. When I worked with Shelly Garrett, who made $33 million off of one play called Beauty Shop, he told me something that was a key. Listen, I paid this man $50,000 to learn that people are nosy. People are nosy as hell. So you got to make people, want to know, make them intrigued. Make them want to know what's next and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really good at within writing a book, which is why I did my second book, and I'm working on my third one, because I always leave people nosy and wanting some more at the end, leaving them on a cliffhanger, wanting to know what happens to these characters next. So if you decide, and even if you don't decide to go with me and have me coach you, I think you have a great story and you have an insight that a lot of us don't know about. So I would encourage you to at least write yourself an outline and get yourself started warming people up to the idea of what your experiences were. Let me ask you, did you talk about that on your podcast?
No, so my podcast is actually interviewing women that are in different areas of real estate. So when I was in grad school, I was in the sports marketing industry, and then by living in New York and New Jersey area, I transitioned over to real estate. So I'm not really as active in the sports industry as much, but people that know me know that that's something I'm been passionate about for years. But as far as the podcast, it's just interviewing people, different women of color mostly, that are in different areas of real estate. So not just realtors, but developers, commercial brokers, hospitality, all that kind of stuff.
What about Airbnb hosts?
Yeah, so I just had
I'm a host.
Airbnb. Yeah, I'm a host as well. I just interviewed a lady who has a corporate housing company. So we were talking about what the differences are between that and Airbnb And I come out with Airbnb. So that's how, if you want to check that out, it's definitely a lot of gems dropped about the short-term rental industry in there.
Yeah, I will.
For sure.
Absolutely. So what other questions you have?
So that's yeah, I just wanted to know like where to start, like you said. So main thing is just coming up with an outline first.
Yep, that's the key. Outline is the key. You're breaking up.
Okay. And I was thinking about in some back roads of Tampa here. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Okay. I was saying, I'm trying to figure out what the starting point is, but I'm thinking maybe it's, either right as I'm getting like arriving to San Diego, or if it's like as I like first got accepted to the program, and then as I'm getting ready to move from DC to San Diego.
Well, no, first we need to know who you are and what made you go into that field. So when you were growing up in DC, were you like a sports player? Were you playing sports? What made you get into that field before you even went out there? What made you even want to do that?
Got you. So I always been like into sports, and I played basketball in high school and all sports growing up and whatnot. So I always been like a sports fan. And then I was working at the Chamber of Commerce in DC. So I started meeting, and networking with a lot of business people. So I started getting interested in going to grad school. And then I was like, okay, how can I mesh like my passion and my love about sports with my interest in business? And then I found a program that was specifically at San Diego that was a grad program catered to sports marketing and just the business of sports industry in general. So, and I applied and everything and got in and moved to San Diego.
Okay, so that's perfect. So, with any book, it has to be beginning, middle, and end. So your beginning has to be establishing who you are and how you develop that love for the sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your middle is going to be your time in San Diego, or your middle is going to start when, this excitement about being accepted into this program. And then your end is going to be what your end was. How did it turn out? Or your end can actually go into the present, the now. So your middle can talk about what your experiences were being the only Black person there and how it was like during that Colin Kaepernick era. Yep. And then your end could be like Colin Kaepernick tried to tell y'all. Now we got this, he was taking a knee, lost everything, lost his job. Now here we are at George Floyd with the police's knee on his neck. So we could end in the now, referencing back to what you were experiencing during that time. You can end with the whole Black Lives and how that all came about.
Right. So tie it together.
A good, juicy beginning, middle, and end for you.
Right. And I was thinking also, which might play into it as well, like right before I left for San Diego, maybe like a year before, my mom had passed. So it was kind of like, I just wanted to change the scenery, let's get out of DC. Having dealing with all of that for a while, it was like, okay, like now is the time where I can really pursue my passion or whatever. And that took me all the way across the country to do that. And just, having a new environment, new experiences.
I'm sorry to hear that about your mom, but yes, there's also stories inside of stories. So that's a great theme in there. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I don't deal with grief very well. And it could be a lot of, talk about how you felt at that time, how you felt when your mom passed and why it led you to make certain decisions or, all that kind of stuff. It's always sub-stories inside of stories.
Right.
What other questions you have?
I think the first thing I'm going to do is definitely just, because I've been having thoughts about it, but let me actually
all the way up.
I
can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I know.
Okay.
Driving these backwoods. Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay, no, I was just saying I've been having thought about it for a little bit now. So I'm thinking the first step is to just put an idea in the form of an outline, just to organize my thoughts.
Yeah, well, you can organize your thoughts and you can send it to me. I'll look over it for you and give you some pointers and some tips on your outline.
Okay. All right. So,
yep, so you can start there. Start with your outline, send it to me, and I'll tell you my opinions and my thoughts on it, or where you can add, or, you know, if it seems like something is missing chronologically or whatever. So put your outline together and send it on over. I'll be happy to look at it for you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Is there anything that I can do to help you or your business or anything?
Maybe the Airbnb. Maybe I can do a podcast interview. I don't know.
Yeah, where do you have your Airbnbs at?
I'm in Baltimore County, so I have on the outside of Baltimore City. I have an Airbnb.
Okay. Yeah, is that the only you have one property or you have multiple?
So it's a long, horrible story, but I had 5 and I had a property manager. And when I went on the road touring my play, all hell broke loose. And so I wanted to get rid of all of my properties, now of which we're out quarantining and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of regret it. So I'm looking into building my property portfolio back up, because I very abruptly got rid of them all.
Right.
Because I felt like I was doing
I know how that is. Like when it, yeah.
I mean,
I'm
big on like multiple streams, but I felt like I was kind of doing too much at the time, and it just wasn't working out. So I got rid of them, but now I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's not the same way I feel. Like I always feel like I'm doing too much, because like you said, I want to keep building multiple streams of income, but I'm starting to get my mindset around like delegating tasks, hiring, even if it's hiring virtual assistants to help me with little administrative stuff. So because I'm like always going 100 miles per hour, and that's kind of why I've been also sitting on this idea about this book, and I'm like, I think it's a good idea, but I don't even know where to get started. So like I said, I stumbled upon your page and was like, you know what, let me just hit her up and see, let's have a conversation about it.
It's so easy. It's just like so easy to do. Once you just put your mind to do it, you got to make time to write, but it is easy, but you just got to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So
I know. Yep.
I mean, the first thing you have to do is start right there. And it's like a low maintenance stream of income. Like it's so low maintenance. You don't have to put out so much to get so much in. And I tell people all the time, writing a book is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, once you write it, you can always earn from it. You just have to write it first.
Yep. Nah, definitely I know what the potential is as far as the like financial thing. I guess also I gotta continue to get over my, I want to say fear, but I just always been like a private person. So like telling all my business is like something I'm trying to get over or whatever. Like the fact that I'm
telling, it's fiction.
I know that's what I'm saying. I know it's fiction now because we just mentioned that, but obviously it's going to be loosely based on me. Like the fact that I'm doing this podcast and like recording myself and all that is a big jump for me. So like it's helping me to get over that, like putting myself out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So then to put out this book, even though it's going to be fiction, like people that know me will know this is really you that you're talking about or whatever. So just getting over that, like limiting belief. I know it's not anything really serious, but just getting over that in my mind.
Well, who doesn't do it? Unless people are doing this Hogwarts stories or whatever. Like the best books are based on a true story. Like the best movies are based on a true story. Most people are mostly successful about writing what they know.
Right.
I mean, someone said it, I can't remember her name, that said it in a quote that said, you have lived enough by the time you turn 15 to write your first book. You have lived enough life to write your first book at 15. So most people do it. They write based off their experiences or the experiences of people they know.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I definitely know that it'll be a good story. I also got like trying to overcome like perfectionism and just like doing it. Like don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be a certain way. Just like do it. So.
I know you hear me. If you've been following my page, you know I say this all the time. Done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Done is better than perfect. Listen, and I want you to just start writing. Just write. Just write and just let your writing flow. Don't try to correct it as you go along. That's what an editor is for. I call it a book doctor. Let an editor doctor it up after, but just get it down. Done is better than perfect. If you want to make things perfect, you'll never have it done. Like I went back and read my first book and my second book, and I kept saying, dang, I wish I had put this in. Oh, I should have added that in. I should have added that. But had I kept reading over my draft, I would have never put that book out because I would have kept tweaking and changing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely feel you. Like I read a lot of books myself and a lot of personal development stuff, but I also read memoirs and whatever else. So I'm like, I could probably do this, but then I'm also comparing myself to people that have been writing for a while. And it's like you said, sometimes you just got to do it. Just put it out there.
Those people who've been writing a while, they started somewhere too.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, they had to write their first book one time. So yeah.
So cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna just start with the outline and I'll send that over to you soon. And then we could go from there. But I really appreciate you more so like just giving me the confidence part. That's more, I appreciate that.
Awesome. I'm glad I could help. So yeah, I'll be looking out for your email.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And then also, like I said, check out that latest episode I put out, but I would love for you to be a guest to talk about that because I haven't had anybody specifically talk about like being an Airbnb host, which is a little bit different than this lady I had on recently. So if you want to, do that with me, that would be great as well.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, so I usually record on the weekends. I have 2 people lined up for this weekend, and it's kind of short notice. But if you want to do it next weekend, we could definitely do that.
Next weekend, I'm gonna be out of town. My birthday is Friday, next Friday.
So nice! Happy early birthday!
Thank you. I can't. My trip to Greece was canceled, so gotta do a little road trip. So the week after next.
Okay. Yeah. What day next week? I mean, that week, Saturday or Sunday?
Either one works for me.
Okay.
Either one works. Just email me the deets, and then we.
Okay.
What time you usually record?
I usually like to record in the afternoon, just so like the lighting is better. Like I just do it like sitting in my apartment, but the lighting is usually better during the day. I've done it at night before, and it doesn't look the same. So try to do it while the sun's out.
Okay, that works for me. Probably early afternoon works best.
Yep.
Because I'll be home alone. No one will interrupt me.
I know, that's the same way. Like my boyfriend like comes and goes, and I'm like, I'm recording something. Don't be in my background. So I had to tell him either leave or like don't come out the room.
My husband does it every time. The first thing, the door chimes, beep beep. Then he just hollers out, "Hey babe!" I'm like,
Nah, I tell him like, look, don't make no noises in the background. Don't come out. Either you leaving out. It's only gonna be like an hour and a half at the most. So just find something to do so you won't like distract me. So.
Yeah, I remember I was doing a webinar and the cleaning lady was cleaning the house, which was fine. But my husband kept having to say something to me about what the cleaner lady was doing. I was like, sir, I'm on a live webinar.
Right. Right. You know that, like, you can't handle that by yourself. Like, come on now. So, nah, I feel you. But yeah, let's I'm gonna send you the dates and what time is good. Not next weekend, but the following weekend. So yeah, we could definitely set that up. And I love to talk to you because I'm sure I learn more about you, and I'll definitely try to get that outline to you way before we have that conversation too.
Awesome. Works for me. Okay, Jessica, it was so great meeting you and so great connecting. And I will chat with you soon.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All
right. What part of Florida are you in?
Tampa.
Oh, you're in Tampa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, trying to stay safe from these people out here that don't want to wear masks. So.
I know. I just got an email today about a girl that I work with. Both of her grandparents passed away from COVID.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Both of her grandparents passed away within hours of each other. Let me see what part of Florida they just said they were in.
The worst part right now is Miami area.
Yeah, it just says Florida, but yeah. Yep, so you be careful.
I definitely will.
Soon.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much.
One more thing. You want me on your video, you want me to promote Pretty Girls Love Real Estate page?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. I'll look out for your email.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. And